Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Zee Garcia.
And I'm Joey Evans.
Today we're taking a look at the second expansion to Heat, Pedal to the Metal. This one's called Tunnel Vision, and much like the first expansion, it's going to give you 2 new maps, one board, double-sided. It's going to give you a new car that you can throw into the games. Purple, if you're a fan of purple, you can stop the video right now. Go get this.
Sold.
And then a few more of the sort of customization cards, the ones that you would draft and would change, the things you do. We're going to be talking about those primarily. There's a couple of other things in there, but we're going to be talking about that primarily, the new symbol and what it does. And then the tunnel part, the idea of this new rule that is now available to you and you have to deal with in the box here. Before we do any of that, Joe's going to show us the boards and some of the cards. Here we go.
Okay, we are going to talk about Heat Tunnel Vision now. This is the new expansion. Now, I'm not going to go into how to play Heat. Those videos are elsewhere on the channel. This is pretty much just to tell you what this expansion adds. First off, it's going to add another player color here. So purple, you get a purple card, gear stick, all that stuff. Right here is the car. So you do get another player to add to your base game. Then you're going to get 2 maps. This is the first track here, and the other track is, of course, on the back. And I will show you, I'll show you that one in a moment. But first off, the big thing this adds is tunnels, because, of course, it's called Tunnel Vision. Now, a tunnel, as soon as your car is in a tunnel, the big thing is you cannot discard. So normally you can discard down and then draw back up. As long as you are in a tunnel, you will not discard. Now, cooling down is not discarding. You can still cool down in the tunnels, but you cannot discard, so your hand is going to get more and more muddied up, and you'll be stuck with those as you proceed through these tunnels. Also, this track does have the chicanes, which are also on the other expansions as well. But then another big thing about this are, well, first off, some of the cards they've got over here. You're going to have 4 new event cards for the championship system. If you do play that, you're going to have some more heat, some more stress ones right here, and then, of course, the purple player ones. Here is also for your garage, this introduces a new symbol. Let's see if I can get that to focus on here. There we go, right here. Now what this is a draft symbol, meaning that this is going to get you into position to draft. And this is using in stage 5. For example, here, we're going to have these cars right here. Now say I have spent mine and I've got one right here. I've got 1 draft symbol. Now, if I stop right here, well, if I have this symbol, it can only move up if you move up near another car. For example, if I'm done moving, I can move up 1 more just like that, and then I can draft as normal. Another example here is I'll show you in track in the game here. For example, if you get a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on those cards, you happen to have 2 draft symbols. See if I can focus that right there. So it gives us 3. So right there, of course, you can't draft. Then you can do 1, 2, 3 extra. Again, only if that puts you in position to draft. Right there behind him, and then I can go ahead and draft as normal. So now I'll take a close look at the track here. You do have a kind of a long straightaway right here. And there's about a 16. You've got a straightaway up here. Then you've got the tunnels on this side. Notice also this is a longer track, so this is only 1 time around. Now let's take a look at the other side. And then finally, this is the other side, the Netherlands track, a bit smaller right here, and there are also no tunnels on that. So that's it. That is what is included in the Heat Tunnel Vision expansion. Let's send it back and see what we thought about it.
So I'm a fan of the first expansion to this, though I consider it also, I enjoy it, I'm glad it exists, I'm glad to own it, I also consider it a little bit of a missed opportunity. Like,
how do you mean?
Well, like, the first one is Heavy Rain, and it has rules that utilize this idea of, like, well, rain does something specific when it's on the track, and they feature it on one board, but not the other one. So this rule exists that is on 1 map out of 6 at that point. Right?
Right.
This one, follow-up expansion, I'm going to say right now, I also enjoy it, and I also find it kind of suffers from the same thing. We now have tunnel rules that are on 1 board out of now 8, if I'm not mistaken.
I was surprised to see them not on the back. Yeah.
Right. And they also do not have rain rules in here.
No.
Which I don't think anybody would be necessarily upset if you included the rules from your first expansion on the other side of this map. That's okay. You're still introducing tunnels in this one.
Yep.
So I just find that those rules, they go through all the trouble to, create new rules. Not that they're complex. They're very straightforward. But then they're barely used. They're barely in the game as a whole. And I find that to be a little bit of a wasted opportunity. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. I mean, it's just, I'm surprised, as you mentioned it, that rain is not added on. That would have been awesome to have tunnels and rain and been like, this is going to be a slog.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Where is that cool crossover? Or just even do tunnel on one side, rain on the other one, maybe. That might be neat. Another rain map. I don't know.
See, that would be nice. 'Cause, like, tunnels are very situational. It's going to be a problem if you need to discard a lot of cards.
Right.
Or if you even have to stop through them. But yeah, that would be huge to have them both on there.
I will say this. I like the tunnel rule more than I like the rain rule.
You do? Okay.
I do. The rain rule was if you need to downshift and your vehicle is in the submerged part of the track, which is printed on there, then it costs you a heat. Cool.
Right.
Sure. Why not? The tunnel rule is simpler than that, even simpler. If you're in the tunnel part, you cannot willingly discard cards. Now, it's a little more advanced. To know when you should discard, when you should not discard is a slightly more advanced idea.
Yeah.
Which is why I think this is a good idea for this to be the second expansion. There's a little bit more finesse to that.
Yeah.
And so, but I find it to be an interesting, punishing thing. You got to be prepared before you ever hit that tunnel that you're going to be able to come out of the other side without blowing up. You better be holding the low cards back because while you're in there, you can't discard anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find that really interesting, and it's kind of it's a neat rule that I can explain in a sentence. I'm always a fan of that.
I agree. I think I like the rain more for some reason, having it harder to downshift in rain.
Right.
I was like, okay, that's nice. But again, it's very, very situational on when they affect you because neither one would really affect you a lot.
Right.
And yeah, perfect. But that's the way expansions should be. They don't really bother the entire game. Very situational rules.
Yeah. And then the other map, both of the expansions kind of include, the one map that does the thing that it says on the box, on the tin. And then the other map that they include in here is interesting, though. I find it to have... It has a really long straightaway right before the end. Mm-hmm. And I find that to be a little tricky to play with, especially when you're playing against the legends. Because they will just smoke you down those straightaways. And it's right before the end of the track. So it can be very, very difficult to do well against them. Though it does give you that nice big, whoo, push, And that's the Netherlands one. I forget which is which, actually. Yeah, the Netherlands one. Yeah. It's a neat map. It's just got some cool components to it. The chicanes are also part of these maps. And so, I like what's going on in the maps, and I like the variety of this expansion,
Yeah, I like the Spain one is you just do one round.
Right, because it's such a massive track. Actually, it's the biggest track they've ever done.
You feel it, too, because you're like halfway through, we're not even, wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's the longest by far, or a few spaces. So what about the special symbols? I love the how deep the bench is when it comes to heat, even out of the box, the core box.
Yeah.
But here they add a new symbol. Again, they did the same thing for the heavy rain. So the new symbol here I really enjoy. The idea that when you draft someone, you can go more than 2 spaces. And I really like the way it breaks up the cadence of that.
It does. And again, it's very situational.
Yeah.
Being able, if you're back there, you can draft up and then kind of slipstream.
Yeah. So you've got all these things that give you the 2 more. They give you, a different 1 more, 2 more, 3. This one's a 3. The front wing is a 3. And so it'll kind of mess with that predictability of... It does. Well, I know when if you end your move right behind or next to someone, you go 1, 2. You know what I mean? And you can no longer quite count on that,
Right.
I enjoy it. I think it's a neat symbol. Again, it's well presented. It's something I'm happy to draft because I understand it very quickly. It makes sense in my head, and I know what I'm going to do. Does it happen all the time? No. But in a fairly crowded field, it happens very frequently. You know, I will utilize that card.
And that is one of the things I love about the game in general is how usually clustered the cars are.
Right.
It seems to be very balanced like that.
Yeah. Do you remember kind of what you thought of the first expansion?
I liked it. Rain?
Yeah, Heavy Rain.
I did. And then every time you're adding more cars to play with more people. I think that's what people really look forward to eventually have that full complement of everybody out there.
So what do you think between, if you were going to, we'll jump into final thoughts here in a second, but if you're going to pick, if you're going to recommend to someone who just got into Heat, they've been loving it, they're ready for more, and I think you should wait until you're ready for more, by the way. Heat has a lot in it.
I agree.
Which one would you recommend first?
I'd go Rain first.
Rain, then Tunnel Vision?
Tunnel Vision, yep.
I already said that I think Rain made more sense first because it was a little less subtle, maybe.
Yeah.
But if I was going to recommend one to a gamer, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter. They just want one. It doesn't, I don't care that it's a lighter one first or whatever. I think I recommend Tunnel Vision first. I like this expansion a little bit better.
That shows how much both are great.
Yeah.
And again, now the price point on these, some people will complain it's like $35 for these.
Right.
Which may sound high. But if you're playing the game a lot, it's a great variety. And to have these in your garage cards, they may come out.
Yeah.
And they may not.
And this is going to enhance every type of, we're not even talking about the sort of season mode with the years.
Right.
But this will also do that. I mean, this will enhance any type of a game you want to play with Heat. You want to do one off. Cool, you can do this. And you can shuffle up and pick a random track even, right? There's those that they include.
I like
You want to do a whole season, play the 3 years or whatever. There's more of that in here too. There's more of every kind of thing that Heat offered, including an extra car, purple, which is a lovely color. I mean, it looks really nice. It pops very well.
Yep.
So, yeah, for me, this is one that, again, part of my mind goes, I wish they would lean more into the thing they're featuring. Why do you go through the trouble of naming this Tunnel Vision, showing a cool tunnel, and then it's like 12% of this box is tunnels or tunnel anything.
Right.
But once I get over that, this is a great expansion. I'm going to give this an 8. I certainly recommend it. It's not necessary. By any means is this a necessary expansion. Buy Heat. Play Heat. It's a fantastic game. But if you want more, I can't, I'm certainly not going to dissuade you from picking up Tunnel Vision. So an 8 for me.
Coming to 7.5, a little bit lower. But again, I think this is great. Again, if you love Heat, and like you said, I love the fact they give those cards. I didn't mention those to show each track so you can randomize your play.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's really good. I really like that little attention to detail.
Right.
So again, people are going to be completionists on this, especially if you love Heat. This just gives you more Heat.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go, folks. That's going to do it for Tunnel Vision here, the expansion that is a seal of approval, by the way, from us here at the Dice Tower. And that's Heat. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Zee Garcia.
And I'm Joey Evans.
Vroom, vroom, everybody. Watch out, it's dark in the tunnel.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.